Welcome back to Marianne Kennedy's global gathering at An Tobar Arts Centre in Tobermory on the Isle of Mull. Would you please welcome the peerless Michael Marra?
Oh, no more will I rove, no more, it's over. Oh, no more will I rove, no more, it's done. I'll sit beneath the fiddle tree with the ghost of Neil Gow next to me. Listen, Neil, the apprentice has begun. An old man looks at his ingle nook and he wonders, his brother in a foreign land, he must remain. About the life that choose, each would wear the other one's shoes. His motherland is a source of constant pain. Oh, no more will I rove, no more, it's over. Oh, no more will I rove, no more, it's done. I'll sit beneath the fiddle tree with the ghost of Neil Gow next to me. Listen, Neil, the apprentice has begun. I heard your music calling. In the outback still I heard your song. Feeding from a foreign field with far more fish than the brand could yield. Your trip will be my last and it won't be long. Oh, no more will I rove, no more, it's over. Oh, no more will I rove, no more, it's done. Sit beneath the fiddle tree with the ghost of Neil Gow next to me. Listen, Neil, the apprentice has begun. Oh, no more will I rove, no more, it's over. Oh, no more will I rove, no more, it's done. I'll sit beneath the fiddle tree with the ghost of Neil Gow next to me. Listen, Neil, the apprentice has begun. Thank you very much. That was Neil Gow's Apprentice, a song which was written for Dougie MacLean. And the next song is about another musician. In fact, this is one from the new record, The Quintet. I'm very fond of the Shetland Islands. I don't know if any of you are. I'm sure you are. It's a wonderful place, especially for music, as you know. And I loved it right away. First time I went there, I went in a filling station. I bought a map of Shetland. If you buy a map of Shetland, you get the United Kingdom in a tiny little box at the bottom. My kind of town. Anyway, after my gig, I was introduced to a fascinating man called Peary Willie Johnson. Some of you will be familiar with his work. He was a very interesting musician. If any of you noticed, I'm not a purist. Well, Peary Willie is a perfect example of the kind of thing that I like when different things run into each other and something new comes up. So I wrote this song for him. Started it on the boat to Aberdeen. And Willie told me when he was young that Tommy Anderson made a crystal set and they used to gather round this primitive radio. And because there are no mountains in the North Atlantic Ocean, they were able to pick up a radio station from New York State called Schenectady. And that's how Willie heard the music that changed his style of playing somewhat. He heard Eddie Lang and Django Reinhardt and players like that. It changed the way he looked at music. I like that kind of thing. So many years later, in fact, he was with a group called the Boys of the Loch. He did a tour in America. And one of the places they played was Schenectady. So I find that a very beautiful circle. So I made this song. It's called Schenectady Calling Peary Willie Johnson. Schenectady calling, Schenectady calling. Take these notes into the night and run them by the northern lights. Transport these golden bars, let this music touch the stars. Snuggle down into the noose while Peary Willie makes his hoose. Let this music run through his fingers, let it touch his very soul. Schenectady calling, Schenectady calling, and let the cymbals tingle in a distant ear. The signal twinkle by the brassy pier. Not long dark night, let any light be near this sophisticated man. So to Willie Harlem speaks, his fingers painting what his soul receives. Blessed Django comes to call, smashing down those foolish walls. The signal flies into the night and flashes by the Lerwick lights. A nice explosion runs through his fingers and ignites his very soul. Schenectady calling, Schenectady calling. We love you madly, Schenectady calling. Thank you very much. I'd like to carry on with a song from another song from that same record, The Quintet. And this one is a song about a musician from Dundee who played in a group with me when we were boys. We had a group called Skeets Bolivar. And this is a song about a sax player who played with that group. His name is Peter McGlone. Unfortunately, he turned out bad. He became a lawyer. But we forgive him. And this song was written for as a wedding present because I was skint at the time. But it is heartfelt, and it's called Peter. Back when before my hair was gone, I had a little group was playing Casey Jones. It's a really silly place to put a saxophone, but Peter made them change their minds. The wheels got rolling and the names got strange. The dogs got barking and the faces changed. Different hands were holding different reins. to different destinations. Purred like a kitten and howled at the moon. His fingers were smitten with pistols at noon. Most men's arms and legs can only move, but he'll sing like a bird and dance like a firefly. Most men's arms and legs can only move. Peter leaves them all behind. You thought were out of sight, blown French kisses on a humble flight, light up the heavens on a starlit night. Peter leaves them all behind. Purred like a kitten and howled at the moon. His fingers were smitten with pistols at noon. Most men's arms and legs can only move, but he'll sing like a bird and dance like a firefly. Most men's arms and legs can only move. Peter leaves them all behind. Most men's arms and legs can only move. Peter leaves them all behind. Grazie mille. Voglio continuare con una canzone alla regata alla pianista da New Orleans, Mac Rebennack. La canzone si chiama Mac Rebennack, il quale ha fatto visita al villaggio di Blair Gowrie. Tonight's the night, such a night. The fruit of these fields has never smelled sweeter, and the wheels are rolling, and we just got to be there. A poster on the laundrette wall, stating clearly in a bold typeface, it says, Dr. John is playing Blair Gowrie tonight. I know that every little thing in Blair Gowrie gonna be alright. What goes round, you get these guys dressed like Elvis, come on stage making noise. Well, who's to say this ain't one of those creatures? Who's to say he ain't one of those boys? Could call himself Malcolm and carry a cane, talk in the manner of a New Orleans, and have a ruby set inside the tip of that cane, and he could still come out fighting with that old Ross Conway fish. Who's to say? Well, will he play Delicado, New Island midnight, Saints and Pine Top. Aiko, Giacomo Finani. Oh, Mr. Revenack's in the building, and everything's okay. Look at those old hippies, shampooed and jumpy. They're smoking snouts like Virginia was in flames. And look at that old piano. She looks like some old woman been beating music into children. And will he move among us in a special way? Will our spirits fly when he begins to play? Delicado, New Island midnight, Saints and Pine Top. Aiko, Giacomo Finani. Oh, Mr. Revenack's in the building, and everything's okay. Tonight's the night, such a night. The fruit of these fields has never smelled sweeter, and the wheels are rolling, and we just got to be there. A poster on the laundrette wall, stating clearly in a bold typeface, it says, Dr. John is playing Blair Gowrie tonight. I know that every little thing in Blair Gowrie gonna be alright. I know that every little thing in Blair Gowrie gonna be alright tonight. Such a night. Thank you very much. We're going to do another song from Shetland now. This is a song about a man called Thomas Fraser, who came from Marra Isle in Shetland. And Thomas was a fisherman, had a very hard way of life. But also, like everybody else in Shetland, he was a wonderful musician. He played the guitar and sang. And his big hero was Jimmy Rogers, the singing brakeman. And he learned all that stuff, the American country blues. But as well as being a fisherman, Thomas was also the first man in Shetland to get a proper tape recorder. And he worked very hard all day, and at night he used to record all these songs. And they recently became available on CD. Maybe some of you know the music. It really is wonderful. Because he was a very shy man, Thomas. He wouldn't perform in public. Very shy indeed. But he made these wonderful recordings. And the only reason he made them was for the love of music, really. So I don't suppose he was even aware that the whole world would hear them eventually. But they're very good. So I wrote this song, and it is called Thomas Fraser. What key were you boys in? How's that? 1, 2, 3. Last night I heard the voice of Thomas Fraser, and the comfort of his words came to my ears. By a willow he was singing to the catfish, and time had withered not his tender years. Oh, time had withered not his tender years. And the hummingbirds were singing while he played his old guitar, and with every word he sang the breeze was still. and a light was shining down upon the water from his eyes. Thomas Fraser wants and Thomas will. Oh, if Thomas Fraser wants and Thomas will. When he sang of life's misfortunes, it would sing up to the sky as he struggled through the dangers of the deep. Then a moment when he gazed upon a loving Shetland moon and a love song for his family in their sleep. Oh, a love song for his family in their sleep. And the hummingbirds were singing while he played his old guitar. And with every word he sang, the breeze was still. And a light was shining down upon the water from his eyes. Thomas Fraser wants, Thomas will. Oh, if Thomas Fraser wants, Thomas will. And the song that Thomas sang contained a warning to the young men down in Bucky and beyond, who hunt the shoals of heroin and track that has no ring. There's a depth you cannot fathom, then you're gone. Oh, the ghosts of men and the whitefish that are gone. And the hummingbirds were singing while he played his old guitar. And with every word he sang, the breeze was still. And a light was shining down upon the water from his eyes. Thomas Fraser wants and Thomas will. Oh, if Thomas Fraser wants and Thomas will. If you join him by the willow, you'll be welcome. To soothe the savage breast, his voice will try. You all will be made welcome there, where peace of mind has curly hair. Thomas sings and plays to tell us why. Oh, Thomas sings and plays to tell us why. And the hummingbirds were singing while he played his old guitar. And with every word he sang, the breeze was still. And a light was shining down upon the water from his eyes. Thomas Fraser wants and Thomas will. Oh, if Thomas Fraser wants and Thomas will. As Thomas sang his song, a baby sang along. If Thomas Fraser wants and Thomas will. Oh, if Thomas Fraser wants, Thomas will. Thank you very much. This next song goes back to the day that the Scottish Parliament opened. A great day, and on that day, I was attending a wedding in San Francisco with a big crowd of musicians, a lot of Scots and a lot of Irish musicians. And we had with us one Englishman who was Martin Carthy. Now, I'm a very big fan of Martin Carthy and always have been. And we were celebrating everything there was to celebrate. Opening of the Parliament, the bride, the bridesmaids, the groom, and each other. And at one stage of the proceedings, Martin said that he thought it was a pity that it was not a straightforward matter to celebrate being an Englishman. And this quite surprised me. And I'm very fond of England, you know, but I told him not to worry. I told him the first 300 years are the worst. And then eventually he would be okay. But it did strike me as an unusual thing because I am very fond of England. I work there a lot and I tour it. And I like England in all its variety and all the different kinds of people that you get there as well. So I thought I should write a song to console Martin Carthy. And I started it after the wedding, and I managed one line, which was, if I was an Englishman. And then I got kind of stuck. But I went back to it a couple of days later and made this song, which is in the key of B. It's called If I Was an Englishman. If I was an Englishman, I'd sing and dance and play. I'd dig out all the old ones and beseech you heed their say. Their visions of a better life in a land as bright as day. I'd do my William Morris dance, I'd be on my way. I'd do my William Morris dance, I'd be on my way. If I was an Englishman, I'd sing and dance all night. I'd sing a song of Thomas Paine, of darkness and of light. I'd fire my favourite candles up, Old Compton and Old Bright. I'd do my Stanley Spencer dance and exit to the right. I'd do my Harold Pinter dance and exit to the right. If I was an Englishman, I'd raise my voice and sing. I'd enter in the House of Lords and make the rafters ring. I'd sing to all those noblemen of cabbages and kings. I'd do my Arthur Muller dance and turf them in the bin. I'd do my Norman Wisdom dance, turf them in the bin. If I was an Englishman, I'd sing and dance and play. I'd dig out all the old ones and beseech you heed their say. Their visions of a better life in a land as bright as day. I'd do my William Morris dance, I'd be on my way. I'd do my Martin Carthy dance, I'd be on my way. Thank you very much. This next song is a song about one of my favorite artists, who was a Mexican woman called Frida Kahlo. I'm sure some of you know her work. And I love Frida's stuff. No matter how beautiful it gets, there's always trouble involved. But I don't know why. I like that kind of thing. And I wanted to make a drawing of her. It's a very strikingly handsome woman. And in the drawing, I wanted her to be happy, healthy, and above all, single. She was married to a man called Diego Rivera, who was a wonderful artist, but he was a semi-pro husband. He didn't treat her very well. And the drawing wasn't very good. And as you may know, her self-portraits are wonderful. So I abandoned that and decided to write a song instead. And in order to fulfill these three conditions, happy, healthy, and above all single, I set the song after her death. Frida dies and goes to heaven, and she would just get straight in, but they can't get the pearly gates open. They've jammed. they've not been using them much recently. So St. Peter asks Frida if she would mind waiting in the interim period in the Taybridge bar in the Perth Road in Dundee. And the song is called Frida Kahlo's Visit to the Taybridge Bar. Okay. Flooded with a scarlet light, came through the window with the rain outside. It all went quiet and a vision appeared, with a rose in her hair and a ring in her ear. And she says, Buenos dias, boys, this looks like the place. Make my re-entry to the human race. Here I am, and here I'll stay till it's hasta la vista, and I'm on my way. And Vince said she was a woman to whom life had been cruel, and she lived with a fat man of the naive school. He liked his beer and he put it about, but she truly loved him till the lights went out. And then she made her way up to the pearly gates. She saw St. Peter, he was pumping weights, and he said, hit your lift upon this falling star. Make your way down to the Taybridge bar. There'll be no more lies and no more tears, and no more listening through the fat man's ears. There'll be no more tears and no more lies, no more looking through the fat man's eyes. She'd never been so happy in a long, long time, and her mind was relaxed and her body felt fine. She said, put on Perdido, tonight's the night. I want to dance with Jimmy Howie in the pale moonlight. There'll be no more lies, no more tears, and no more listening through the fat man's ears. There'll be no more tears and no more lies, no more looking through the fat man's eyes. We were all flooded with a scarlet light. Yeah, thank you very much. I just got a wee cue there to tell you about our gig tomorrow night in the Tall Ships in Glasgow. If any of you happen to be sailing out of Tobermory tomorrow morning, head for the Clyde. Yeah, we have an unusual gig there tomorrow night on the Tall Ship. What time does it start, Gordon? At 7:30. So if any of you are about in Glasgow, we'd be glad to see you there. I'd like to carry on with a song about my great uncle, who was a man called Francis Clark, and he was my grandmother's brother on my father's side. The family came from a place called Bailyaborough in Cavan in Ireland, and came across here, and eventually Francis got a job in the boatyard in Dundee and served his time as a shipwright. And he worked on the building of the Discovery, beautiful ship. We have that back in the harbour in Dundee now. You should also sail into Dundee harbour and have a look at that. Anyway, later he got a job on board as a ship's carpenter, which is what a shipwright becomes when a ship sets sail. Did you know that? I love that. The job title changes. Anyway, he travelled all over the world, had many great adventures, and eventually he died and was buried in the Yukon Territory. And the sad thing is that at the time that he died, the family weren't speaking to him. They were in the huff. Your families probably don't behave like that. Anyway, I wouldn't have known about the man at all, but my Auntie Molly told me about him. She said the reason that nobody ever mentioned him was because he'd had an unhappy marriage. And in those days, unhappy marriages were not as popular as they are now. And so they never mentioned him at all, which I thought was a great pity. So really, I think this song was just written to say hello to him. And maybe warn people against going in the huff. It's daft. So here's the song. It's called The Lonesome Death of Francis Clark. There is a place out in the Yukon, and lying near a shipwright's bones, and by his side his adjunct compass, and by his feet there is a carling stone. Lying by his feet there is a carling stone, and a fountain pen lies in his waistcoat, although they found no written farewell. He died on a night that was cold as his family. Oh, it was icy at the gates of hell. Surprised that it was icy at the gates of hell. Fare thee well, brave Uncle Francis. When the snowflakes fall, I will sing the blues. And when I think of how you left this world, I will remember how the world left you. They say he fell for an Indian maiden who was more lovely than mere words could tell. And he lay in her arms and he bathed in the moonlight. He softly sang of the Bellabara bell. He sang to the maiden of the Bellabara bell. Fare thee well, brave Uncle Francis. When the snowflakes fall, I will sing the blues. And when I think of how you left this world, I will remember how the world left you. Who among us would still say, I'll not forgive until my dying day? Between the earth and the sky above, there must be a twinkling seam of love. Summon up the drums of the Blackness Foundry, blend Matty the Mackay twins too. We'll sing it up from the Overgate to Anchorage, place a coal upon the fire for you. We'll place a precious coal upon the fire for you. Fare thee well, brave Uncle Francis. When the snowflakes fall, I will sing the blues. And when I think of how you left this world, I will remember how the world left you. And when I think of how you left this world, I will remember Thank you. Thank you. You've been very nice to us. Therefore, we shall give you a great song now. How about that? This is a wonderful song. It was written by Robert Burns. And this is a song in which Robert had the courage, and it took a lot of courage at the time, to affirm that God is a woman. He's a wonderful man. If you know this song, please sing along with us. This is called Green Grow the Rashes. Okay. There's naught but care on every hand, in every hour that passes, oh, what signifies the life of man? 'Twere for the lasses, oh, green grow the rashes, oh, green grow the rashes, oh, the sweetest hours that e'er I spent are spent among the lasses, oh, a worldly race may riches chase, and richer still may fly them, oh, but when at last they catch them fast, their hearts can ne'er enjoy them, oh, green grow the rashes, oh, green grow the rashes, oh, the sweetest hours that e'er I spent are spent among the lasses, oh, give me a canty routine, my arms about my dearie, oh, and worldly cares and worldly men can I get teary, oh, green grow the rashes, oh, green grow the rashes, oh, the sweetest hours that e'er I spent are spent among the lasses, oh. Nature swears the lovely dears her noblest work she classes, oh, her prentice hand she tried on man, then she made the lasses, oh, green grow the rashes, oh, green grow the rashes, oh, sweetest hours that e'er I spent are spent among the lasses, oh, green grow the rashes, oh, green grow the rashes, oh, the sweetest hours that e'er I spent are spent among the lasses, oh.
Michael, Marra and the Quintet live at An Tobar here in Tobermory on the Isle of Mull. Michael, absolutely fantastic. Always great to see you playing live, but especially in such a... Oh, I love this little venue. It's just great for live music, isn't it?
It is. It's perfect.
Now, we heard Gordon's theory as to what brings you back and back and back, but now you can tell us the truth. What is it that brings you back to An Tobar again and again? Yes.
Well, it's a wonderful place to work, really. And it's surprisingly recent that I found out I had the best job in the world. I didn't know for many years. But I did discover when I came over here, I just thought, well, imagine somebody paying you to do such things. You know, I'm not daft. And actually to stand out and go out in a wee break and stand out and look over Tobermory Bay is, I can't describe it. It's a wonderful place to work, and it's a very harmonious place too. The art centre is just wonderful. I love it.
And Gordon says you have a completely erroneous view of the weather on the West Coast as a result.
Well, Gordon says many things.
It does, for me, coming to An Tobar, it always seems to me that it's very much a case of two-way traffic. There's always people giving and people getting in whatever they do in their creativity. Oh. Is that something for yourself as well?
Well, whoever is asked to come here, I mean, whether it be visual arts or whatever, just really as a place for any artist to spend any amount of time, it really is wonderful. There would have to be something wrong with you if you didn't come up with some work while visiting here, I think.
And have Gordon play bass for you.
Oh, he's a sainted man, Gordon. Yes. Hi.
We've got time for just one more song this evening.
Right.
You were one of the first gigs that I ever watched that wasn't Gaelic music when I left Glasgow and grew up and realised that this what I had was special, but there was more to life. And I remember going and seeing you late night in the Fringe in Edinburgh, and something like a 60-minute gig turned into about 2 hours. It was it was quite miraculous. I loved it, and I've loved it here tonight as well. So much as I would like lots and lots and lots more music, one more song. What's it going to be?
Okay. We'll do a song now in which I play the parts of 3 Dundee women who have been picking berries at the fruit harvest in Blairgowrie and have stopped to have their lunch, or what we cry, their peace. And whilst having their peace, they're amusing themselves by insulting each other's housing schemes. Beechwood, Whitfield and Mid Craigie. We just call that Mid with affection. But if you can pick up the chorus of this one, please do. It goes, baps and paste and corn dog, peace on earth and earth on peace, butcher's hawk or tinky's goggles, wha can tell the difference. And thank you for coming tonight. You've been very nice to us. Okay, bud. 1, 2, 3. Baps and paste and corn dog, peace on earth and earth on peace, butcher's hawk or tinky's goggles, wha can tell the difference. Oh, wha could bear to bide in Beechwood, folk keep donkeys in the bath, better things today, goes and doon a donkey's arse, she has better things today, goes and doon a donkey's arse, where on earth would you keep the coal, the creature occupied the bath, baps and paste and corn dog, peace on earth and earth on peace, butcher's hawk or tinky's goggle, wha can tell the difference. I dream about a hoose in Whitfield, up to my ears in junkies pish, corrugated iron curtain, sitting the lobby guddling fish, such a scene like a dream, skinned my knees on a submarine, baps and paste and corn dog, peace on earth and earth on peace, butcher's hawk or tinky's goggle, wha can tell the difference. in mid I saw a big Alsatian fag in its mouth a few tattoos, barking at the laundrette. On its feet were pointed shoes, an Alsatian with pointed shoes, and it had brow cream on its ears. I thought that was the speech therapist crying out to the faithful. Paps and paste and corn dog, peace on earth and death on peace. Butcher's hawk or tinky's goggle, I can tell the difference. Paps and paste and corn dog, peace on earth and death on peace. Butcher's hawk and tinky's goggle, I can tell the difference. Butcher's hawk, tinky's goggle.